Hey, friends, welcome back to the Content Systems for Growth podcast. I'm Michelle Dewey, and today we're talking about one of my favorite. I know I have a lot of favorite tools, but today it's because it's not fancy or complicated, but it's because it's honest, powerful, and it's actually kind of deeply personal, and that's your dream week. Now, if you've been around here for a while, this may sound familiar. I first shared about this way back in episode 73. And while a lot has changed in my business since then, the heart behind it really hasn't. If anything, my understanding of time alignment has only deepened. So today, we're revisiting the concept of a dream week, but with a fresh perspective, one that's rooted in where I am now and maybe where you are too. So I want you to first reflect on what you actually want. Let me ask you something. When you look at your current schedule, does it reflect the life and the business you thought you were building when you started this? Or have you found yourself caught up in doing things that no longer make sense just because you said yes to them months ago? I get it. I've been there because I understand how valuable time is. I'm constantly questioning how I'm spending it and how often. And often I ask myself if I'm doing exactly what I wanted to be doing with my time, what would that look like? And if the answer is not what's currently on my calendar, well, that's a sign that something needs to shift. Because sometimes you need to ask the hard but honest questions. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to be still, actually pause, pray, and ask, what am I avoiding in my schedule? What tasks feel heavy like sandbags? I'm dragging around out of obligation. And maybe most importantly, how can I design a week that's actually pleasing to God? Because here's the truth. When we're living in alignment with what God has called us to do, we feel it. We feel that joy, we feel that peace. And when we don't, we start trying to control and force everything. We hustle harder, we burn out faster, and we forget to turn to Him for direction. I know this from firsthand experience. So if you're not feeling that joy and peace in your schedule right now, it might be time to stop and ask, am I trying to do this all on my own? What is a dream week really? Well, let's clear something up here, friends. A dream week is not about stuffing more into your calendar or achieving Pinterest perfect productivity. No, a dream week is about your clarity. It's about taking a step back and asking, what do I actually want? In my business, I keep a separate calendar inside my Google Calendar. It's just for my dream week. It's a light gray color and I can toggle it on and off, but most days I like to keep it on because it helps me check in. Am I building a business and life that aligns with what I say I value? My dream week, just to give you an example, and most weeks it doesn't look like this, but sometimes it does. The Bible app is the first thing that I start with. Since 2021, that was the first year that I read the Bible in the year, and I've been doing it every year since, the first thing in the morning. I have my meditation, I journal, so it gets all that mental clutter out. I would read, doesn't happen all the time. I like to walk my dogs. I like to have time blocks for my work and my professional development, lift weights or yoga, which I'm slacking on, by the way, and time to spend with my family and friends. I don't follow it perfect. I said that to begin with, but I'm learning that just having it, that brings that clarity and calm. And it's not a rule book, it's a guide. And I've been doing this for years. I even work in 25-minute sprints most days because I've learned that's what keeps me focused and sane. You need to find what works for you, right? And what would need to shift for you? And I ask that same question. So once you have that sense of your dream week, here's the next steps. Like, compare it to what you're actually doing right now. What is out of alignment? Ask yourself these simple questions. What am I spending time on that I could release? What things am I holding on to that somebody else could be doing better or faster for me? And if you're spending your days buried in the back end work, it might be time to bring in help. An online business manager or an operations assistant can clear that space for you and help you focus on the things that only you can do. And let's talk about social media for just a second, because this is something that I've been rethinking. People either do it too much or not enough. When things get busy, it's the first thing I let go of. I'm always prioritizing my long form content, like my podcast or maybe my blog. But now that Instagram and Facebook posts are starting to show up in Google searches, I'm seeing it in a whole new light and potential for my business. So if staying consistent with your content feels impossible, maybe it's time to ask, is this something that I should delegate? And friends, don't forget, if you're ready to delegate, we have just the service for you with our content repurposing services. I'll put a link down below in the show notes for you. And don't forget, you're allowed to pivot. So one thing I want you to remember, there's no right way to do this. Your dream week doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't even have to look like the one you made 6 months ago for yourself. Because guess what? You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to redesign. You're allowed to pause, pray, and start again. And if you've been walking through your week wondering, why does this feel so off? I want to lovingly suggest to you that maybe it's time for recalibration in your business and your schedule. Okay, friends, it's time to wrap this up. So this week, I want to challenge you to create your dream week, not the Pinterest version, not the rigid version, the version that reflects your values, your call, and your God-given vision for your business and life. And if you're tired of carrying all the things, especially when it comes to your content and your back-end work, I'd love to support you. That's exactly what I do inside my content repurposing services and setup systems. You don't have to keep doing it all alone, friends. Next week, guess what? We're going to talk about what to do after you've created your dream week, how to stop procrastinating and actually tackle what matters the most first thing each day. And we're talking about eating the frog. So be sure to come back for that one, friends, if you need to have a little encouragement. Anyways, until then, I hope this blesses you. Take a deep breath, be still, and create a week that brings you peace. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I hope you make it a wonderful week. Yay! Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found this episode valuable and learned some actionable tips that you can implement in your business so that you can feel accomplished and less stressed. If you enjoyed this show, please take a quick minute to share this with your business bestie, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps me reach more business owners just like you. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please reach out to me on my website. I've created a form just for you. Remember, with the right system and mindset, you can achieve the success your heart desires. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you next time. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And don't forget, let's grow, friends.